Tiger team back-to-back years in the state championship game. We've got everything covered for you. We're heading to the Tigers table, and what's the feeling and atmosphere out there like, Coach? Can you hear me out there, Thorny? What's the atmosphere like?
There we go. The fans are filing in. The people from New Middletown are all getting ready to go. It's kind of, we had a little bit of background reverb there, but now we're doing all right. But people are filing in. They're ordering their favorite beverages and getting ready for this thing, man. It's a big day out here in New Middletown. I'll tell you what, coming up the street here was really cool to see the signs and the people that were backing the community here. It's just a really cool setting, right, fellas?
Absolutely. You see the, Tiger Pride and, all over the place, up and down the street, and the signs. I mean, they're ready to go down here, and if they're starting to file in here a little bit, but they're going to be in here in the next half hour. This place is going to be packed. It's a reserved party only. They got signs everywhere on the tables for who's going to be here, so they're ready to go.
You got to love it. What's on the menu for you guys? Some Brungard burgers, maybe?
Oh, there's Brungard burgers. There's the Mickey Melt.
The Mickey Melt.
Yeah.
There we go. They got some good stuff, man.
Absolutely.
Good
they got a nice little plethora of all
took the
kind of
menu.
Things. Yeah, I grabbed the menu to double check what we were going to have here. So there's all kind of good stuff ready to go. I saw an Andy's Mint cheesecake for dessert too.
We're in.
Holy cow. You guys got business to take care of down in Massillon. These guys got food to eat up at the Tigers table, and I'm just hanging out in my house, man.
I mean, you knew when we said, hey, there's free meals at the Tigers table, which three would show up. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
You're done. We're going to judge, too. We're going to judge.
Oh, okay. So we're going to have a food judging contest. I like that. Coach, I'm going to bring you in here, Steve. I know you talk to Sean every week. What's the feeling around this Tiger team as they get ready for the biggest game of their life tonight?
Well, I think the biggest thing when you talk to him, and he said it last year, they were kind of happy to be in this state championship game. This year, he thinks, they're prepared and they're here to win a football game. And, I'm all in on that. He's done a great job, and they continue to. The thing that impresses me with them is they go week by week, every week. And this week, I don't think will be any different. I got an extra day of rest, which I think was huge. The weather is going to be a factor for both of these teams. There's no question. Springfield fans are on the home side, so they have the roof. There's a lot of people sitting up top under. The big thing for me, Mike, is I think they need to start the football game a little better than JFK did the other day on Friday. 2 off-start penalties, false legal procedures, started them in a deep hole, and it kind of snowballed from there. I think the key to this football game is them getting off to a big start, getting Bo able to get out of some open space running the football, and I think they'll be in good shape.
Well, DJ and I were talking right before we went on the air, and he stated Coldwater's game plan is to have Bo Brungard make plays. You sure you want that poison?
Something different, huh?
Yeah, I'm not so sure I would want to root for that myself, but
no, if
to each his own, I guess.
If you're from Springfield, that's a great game plan.
A great game plan.
Go all in on that one. Chips on the table.
Yeah, I think that he will do some damage. I think the two guys that are key for me, Tyndall and Nesbitt in the backfield need to get some runs, those tough yards in the wet rain. The game before us, Thorny Menor Lake had a 28-21 lead against Van Wert. Van Wert scores with 3 minutes left, get a pick, and the young man's first field goal of the year to win the state championship with 10 seconds
Unbelievable.
left.
Wow.
That's crazy, man. That's wild. Hey, real quick, I'm going to give you the 2-second synopsis on Coldwater just so you guys have a little bit of background, our fans. John Reed was there for 36 seasons. He was 283 and 126. He passed away in 2012. He was a good friend and a good dude. He was the one who got things rolling out there. Once he passed away, he handed it over to Chip Otten, who's their head coach now. He's been in the game for 36 years. He was 17. He's been 17 years at Coldwater, 11 as head coach. They're a good program. Little tidbits and fun facts. They're wearing orange and black, just like Springfield. That's the number one color in the state of Ohio. Over 300 teams have those colors. I know it's a dummy, but it's a good one. And then of this conference, it's been kind of put out there this week. 9 of 10 schools from that conference have state championships now. 9 of the 10 in the conference. Parkway does not have a football one, but they have 4 baseball and multiple other sport titles. So they have 160 something titles amongst all these schools. It's crazy. But like you guys said, the paper means nothing. We got a team here from New Middletown Springfield that's pretty damn good.
Well, and the thing also about that is Yeah, you can say all you want about like Coldwater, all they've been there, they've got all these state titles. This team has not been there.
Absolutely.
These gentlemen that are going to take the field have not been there. Who has? The team across the field. The other team wearing orange and black. Actually, they're going to be wearing all black tonight. The Springfield Tigers. They were there last year. They know what to expect. The lights aren't bright anymore for them. They know what they're walking into and what they need to do. Last year, it might have been too much. You know, the lights might have been too bright, and hey, we're just happy to be here. Not this year. They're not happy to be here. You know, they unfinished business is what they have. And, you know, going back to the game that DJ and them had on Friday, you know, afterwards I saw some interviews, and you saw that interview with Cam Hollabaugh, and he kind of said, we let the moment get to us. You know, they didn't let it be just a job. They kind of let the light shine a little too bright on them. And it was like they made some mistakes that they hadn't made all year. So this is a team right here with Springfield. They've had last couple of weeks. They've had some close games, but they came through in different matters. So now they know, see adversity, they're going to go out there and they're going to take care of business today.
I think the thing I like out of the last couple of weeks out of Springfield guys has been their defense. They have made key play after key play after key play. Yeah, you hit the trick play to win, you know, against Norway, but last week, twice, end of the first half, end of the game, it was the defense that made the play to keep them on the track that they wanted to be.
Yeah, like Quinn said earlier. Oh, that's right. He hasn't said anything yet. Basically, their defense. Let me tell you something. Side to side, man, they have speed. They get sideline to sideline as good as, if not better than, any team in the state of Ohio. They just have always had that speed. And I believe last year the Nesbitt kid had like 159 tackles. You know, they were leading tacklers in the state of Ohio that didn't have 90 tackles last year. So, you know, you got guys that can play football lineage. You got guys that played at YSU whose kids are playing there. Guys that played at different schools. So you have definitely great athletes out here on the field for New Middletown Springfield.
And up until last night, the last game of last night, which was the DeSalles game, all those games have been blowouts until then. And what did last night's game and the game that these guys just got to see finish on? Special teams and a kick.
Absolutely.
Field goal, double overtime last night, field goal wins it. Now, you know, the game right here, the Van Wert game before this, comes down to a field goal to win it. And if it comes down to a field goal, only one team on that field today has the best kicker in the state probably.
Absolutely.
And it's the Tigers.
They got a super toe, don't they?
I called it. I just want everybody to know. And if it ends up being 38 yards, I'm rushing and storming this field myself. Just telling you.
Hey, just watch the chest bumps before the game up there.
I learned my lesson.
For DJ and Steve, what's the feeling been like? I mean, you were going to be in Columbus, and remember a couple weeks ago when you were in Massillon, how it was the first time you had ever been there. Just the setting to walk into that stadium, that school, and just know that it's for all the marbles.
Yeah, I think if you believe in coincidence, I guess you don't believe in destiny. So, you know, we're looking straight across to the home side, and you got TIG, ERS pasted across the home bleachers, and we're staring, and coincidentally, it's the Springfield side here. So it's exciting to see. I don't think, again, we talked about the moment not being too bright or too big for the Tigers this year. You know, we talk a lot about punching the clock, picking up your lunch pail and grabbing your hard hat. And Sean Guerrero has this team prepped. Coach Brungard, Coach Slopak, I mean, they're all ready to go. The kids just need to go out and execute. And I think, like Steve said, if they start slow or with penalties, and having to play behind the sticks like JFK did on Friday, it's going to be a long day for them. But I don't expect that from this team. I think this is a team of destiny. We went from playing at a soccer field in Columbus to Tiger Stadium for Springfield. I mean, if you don't believe in I don't even know what that would be. If you don't believe in just absolute team of destiny from that standpoint, then you don't believe in the Springfield Tigers.
Wow. When you flip the side to Coldwater, their quarterback, very similar to Brungard, likes to run the ball a lot. Zach McKibben. What do you guys see? I mean, is there a size on him? Have you seen him warm up? What do you think about this guy?
The teams aren't on the field yet. Well, actually, as I say that, they're walking on. Coldwater's got the orange helmets, the white tops, and the orange bottoms with black socks here today. So what I've heard and what I've seen on film is he's a little bit taller, a little bit lankier than Brungard. Brungard's more of a Mack truck, and this kid's got a little bit more. I don't want to say QB to him. You know what I mean? He's got the look of a quarterback, but he doesn't necessarily run the same way as Bo does. We heard JFK talk about Tebow versus Johnny Manziel all week long, and I think that you can probably attribute that to this as well. I think you're going to see a lot of Bo Brungard if that's the case, if that's the game plan for Coldwater, but they've never met a quarterback like Bo Brungard. You're going to know you were in a dogfight when you get hit by Bo. So it's going to be interesting to see how the opposing quarterback can scramble, because we know this defense doesn't give up a whole lot of yards from the run. The Wing T, a team that only, last week in Fort Fry, only giving up 58 points all year long, had a lot of trouble running the football against the Tigers. So if they think they're going to get the ball kind of carried 10 yards on the ground, it's going to be difficult for them. It's going to be a fight. So I think we're all interested in that.
Yeah. Do they pass the ball much, though? I mean, what I've tried to read, what I've seen, they don't pass it very often. But, Steve, I go back to a game they played against Cardinal Mooney. Mooney had them handled in the state title game, and they hit 3 trick plays.
Yeah, you can be prepared, obviously, for the trick plays. They will have a bunch. They will go to them. They've used them a lot, and they've used them in the state championship game, no question. But let's be honest, Coach Guerrero has a few up his sleeve that I'm sure we have not seen yet. I was able to watch a little practice and was able to see a couple of them. So they have a couple things in their bag if we need to go to get a touchdown. I think we will be able to.
I love the fact we got a lot of people chiming in, wishing the Tigers. Lordy, I know you've called several state games. I think we were at that Mooney Coldwater game that I just referred to. They're not afraid to pull those trick plays out, are they?
No, absolutely not. The one thing about them is, though, they also are a team that'll stick within themselves. They the same play on 31 as they'll run on 3rd and 21. That's what Coldwater does. The big key with these teams from that conference, too, they're all state highway patrol kids. They're all 6'2". They're all 185 pounds. The center can play quarterback. The quarterback can play linebacker. The linebacker can play defensive line. It is what it is when you watch them play. And I don't care if it's Marion Stein, Marion Local, if it's Coldwater, if it's the next. New Bremen was the same way, the other day. They had some bigger linemen, but at the same time, sure, they were all interchangeable. The key that I see still is the toughness and, like DJ loves to say, the grit that these kids have out here, man. They're going to get after it, and I really feel good about what Springfield has to offer today.
I love what Springfield has to offer. I think, they've been tested thoroughly the last 2 weeks. The hardest part for them was to get to the state championship game. Now they're there. They're back to where they wanted to be. It's not mission accomplished for another 48 minutes for this team. They know what they got to do. And I think we talked about offense. We've talked about defense. Special teams is going to come into play. I know DJ's calling a 38-yard field goal, but I'll take Medvick any day of the week. He could probably boot one from 50 if he has to in this one, guys.
I think anybody will take Medved. I mean, the kid's good. I mean, for crying out loud, he had Cincinnati on him his sophomore year. They're calling in the middle of a game trying to see how good this kid is. So this kid is really, he is that good as a kicker. So hopefully, this year helps him out and he can put one through at the end of the game if he needs to. I'd rather see a blowout myself, but DJ, I'd rather see you running down the stands too. So that'd be fun.
Well, it's funny. We were at the Tiger Stable last night, Steve and I and our family, and we looked to our left, and there were the Medvecs eating dinner next to us. And I apologized for putting the pressure on Clayton like that, on regional television, on our partners WFMJ, and saying that it would be a 38-yard field goal to end it. But I just have that feeling. I mean, when you have a kicker like that in your back pocket, when you have that weapon, when else are you going to use it? You know what I mean? Like, you cross the 50 and all of a sudden the kid can put 3 points on the board for your team. Let's go. Let's use it. If you're waiting for a rainy day, well, boys, guess what? It's here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that for turnovers are going to be big. Holding on to that ball. It's going to be wet. Maintaining the possession of the ball is going to be huge. I mean, and that, that's the thing everybody says about every game. But when you get a bad weather game like this, and this is bad weather. I mean, this rain. I mean, it could be snow. I mean, we're only a couple days away from Thanksgiving, and we're only getting rain right now, which is okay. But I mean, a lot of rain. Out there on that field, that ball's got to be secured, and make sure you don't have those turnovers, because that could be a big thing too of who's going to win that game.
Hey, once again, man, I agree with everything that
What do you think, Quinn?
Quinn, is he allowed to talk?
Join off on this. I mean, I'm the youngest one on this panel, so I'm the closest to these kids, and I feel for them being able to, like, I know what they're going through. Like, they're excited. The excitement's huge. I mean, just looking around, everybody here is just everybody is excited and backing this Tiger team, and I can't wait for it. I really can't.
I'm excited for this team. I think they've been very business-like every week of the year. And there's games where, I go back to the Western Reserve game, Steve and DJ. Western Reserve held the ball from them, thought, okay, we got you. And all of a sudden, before you knew it, it's 31-0 Springfield. They just take care of business. Whatever the obstacle is in front of them, it's no problem. And I looked at them last week, like, I was thinking Fort Fry made that drive down the field, is this going to be it? But that defense just made the play. They've always had somebody step up and make the play for them this year. And that's what I love about this team. There's no quit in them. And they really play for their coach. They absolutely love Sean Guerrero, don't they, DJ?
Yeah, and honestly, who doesn't? I mean, even coaches that coach against him talk about Sean being one of the best player coaches in the area, one of the best minds in the area. He's got a great staff that support him and let him do his thing as a head coach. And you talked about the kids loving him. I mean, there is nobody that doesn't want to run through a wall right now for Sean Guerrero, and I think that says a lot about his character. I think it says a lot about the belief that his guys have in the play call. You know what I mean? Offensively, defensively, special teams. I mean, if you watched Level Up last night, you saw that he's a big believer in special teams, in winning every battle. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to come down to all three phases of this game, and whoever can take 2 out of 3 probably takes a state championship home.
By the way, speaking of Leveled Up, 8 o'clock, man, I was on my computer to watch that. Like, I couldn't wait to see it because I knew we had the footage from the locker room last week. That was dynamite. That was well produced. Kudos to YSN on that one because that was a fantastic piece to get everybody just riled up in Tiger Nation.
Absolutely.
That was all Quinn. All Quinn.
Oh, so
Quinn, there you go. Good job, Quinn.
Talk about it.
Way to go, Quinn. Nice.
Look at him. He just sits there and laughs.
Yeah, exactly. The humble guy. Hey, and to those assistant coaches, Mark Brungard, Bill Miller, Adam Slopek, Joe Antonucci, JT Lavender, and Kyle McCree. These are guys that have been with them all year. They don't get as much limelight or publicity that the other guys get. But, man, let me tell you something. They got a staff that's been around one another for a lot of years, and they have a lot of experience. Billy Miller was a tight end at Cheney. When I was a junior, he was a senior. So I've known Billy my whole life. And, he's a great coach, and he's one of those kid guys, When you can coach kids, you can coach anything, and that's what he does well. Is he coaches kids, and he does a great job of it.
Having Mark Brungard on your staff doesn't hurt at all.
Doesn't hurt at all, right?
I mean, a couple championships under his belt, former head coach down 170 here, and now getting to come back home to his area where his boys get to play. And he's been here for a while now and leading this team to a second straight state championship appearance.
Yeah, you can't beat that. I mean, you can talk all day about the Brungards if you want. You can talk about a lot of the families in Springfield. That is one tight-knit community, and that is one of the areas I loved to go when I was working at WFMJ. There was something always special about Springfield. They came to play. They knew that they might not be the favorite going into games, but, man, they weren't going to back down from anybody. And that's one thing I always appreciated out of them. That coaching staff, absolutely tremendous. Think of all the hours that they've put in to get to this point. Most of these guys were with them last year. This has been a mission for this group. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind this was circled. They knew when the state championship game was going to be. And what's amazing, guys, if you look at it and think about this, back in August, did any of us think that we might even be playing this game right now today?
No. We really didn't. And I don't know if I'm stealing anybody's thunder on here or DJing those guys down there, as it looks like they're doing a little shift in to get Jamie and them in. But the one cool thing we all were talking about on our thread this morning, a cool stat you bring up, August. In August, on a Thursday night, the very first game played in the state of Ohio was Sebring. Sebring played their very first game in the state at 6:30, MVAC team. Last game being played in the state of Ohio, Springfield. MVAC team. So you have two schools and one league in the Mahoning Valley area that opened and is going to close the high school season this fall. And like you said, Mike, we didn't think we were going to have this.
No.
You know, we were thinking, okay, 2-3 weeks in, they're going to pull the plug. After that, every week you just kept your fingers crossed. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Now, guess what? We're here. Last game of the show right now.
Yeah, you got to love it. Quinn is the GOAT, man. Got to love Billy Mack and everybody giving Quinn some love. Huh? You got to like that.
The silent assassin over there.
That's right, man.
He is.
Yeah.
Joining us now, man, the two guys that are going to get to call the game, Jamie and Romo. They had one of the greatest calls 2 weeks ago, and I got to actually witness that on top of the press box at Springfield. They were jumping and hooting and hollering, knocked their camera down. They're holding their laptop up just to get that final play on. How excited are you guys? A, B, what do you expect from this game?
Well, got a little bit of jitters right now, man. Like this is great. The teams are on the field. Like it's finally starting to set in. We're really this is our third year, second year announcing together. We're in the state championship right now. I'm so excited for this Springfield team, Springfield community. That hopefully these boys can bring one home this year. Really excited for that. What was the second part of your question?
Just what do you expect from the game tonight? Because you guys have seen Springfield a lot this year.
Sorry if I was in your guys' feet.
Right.
Tonight,
Are you taking?
no,
I'll go. Well, I mean, it's got to be a lot of the same for Springfield, really. It comes down to Bo Brungard. He's the best player. There's no doubt about it. And, I've heard you guys were talking about it. We sit right below, so we've heard the show. I was watching the coach's corner for Coldwater's head coach, and it seems like they feel as if they can match up across the board with really everyone else. So they want to force Bo Brungard to make plays. We saw Fort Fry. They had a really great scheme. They just kind of contained Bo the whole game, used that linebacker spy. Fort Fry did a rather good job of trying to slow down Bo, and Coldwater's approach to try and just make him make all the plays. We're going to see how that works out. I think that could be, something they might have to adjust at halftime, depending on how Bo plays. We're expecting him to step up big.
yeah.
So you expect him to step up big. I think he's going to have a big game. I know last week he was still their leading rusher, but I thought Fort Fry did a nice job. But it opened up plays for other guys. They stepped up and made those plays for them, Jamie.
Right. I mean, I'm sorry. What'd you say again? It's kind of hard to hear you, but I think
last week, Fort Fry did a great job on Bo, even though he was their leading rusher. But it opened up avenues for other players to make big plays, and that's the same thing that could happen today, correct?
Right. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Bo's a great facilitator of the football. I mean, that's what great players do. Yeah, he can do it himself, but he's also not afraid to kind of hand off the reins. We saw Austin Tyndall. He had an amazing game. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, and part of that kind of comes with that read option look. I mean, Bo is able to really just grasp the attention of the entire defense. Your eyes are always on that number one player, especially when it's Bo Brungard, and I really think he's going to do a great job of, like I said, facilitating the football. Yama's had big games. Medvick had a huge game through the air last like Tyndall too, so I think he's going to do a great job.
I think they will too. I'll flip it back over to the Tigers table. Forney, when you look at this team, yeah, we know Bo. We know Nesbitt. Medvick, though, we talk about his kicking, but his defense and his offensive making ability can really change a game also.
Absolutely. And I just wrote down 2 names because I knew we were going to get to this point where we had to name our keys to the game. And I'm going to give mine out right now. My 2 keys to this game, hands down, are Clayton Nesbitt and Brady Brungard. Let me tell you something. My man, number 50, is an absolute monster. He's going to snort, spit, and sneeze on you. He doesn't care. He absolutely is probably one of the nicest kids in the world also on the flip side when he's not on the field. But on the field, he's going to tear your head off because my man is possessed right now, and I love the way he plays. But my big keys are those 2 guys. And I know that we have Brungard and we still have, other players out there that can do it. But my 2 are those 2. Can they stabilize this team all game? And I think they can.
Well, I think the big thing when I flip it to defense for the Tigers, Nesbitt, if he is able to just make all kinds of tackles like he has all year, he just always seems to be around the football. if he has a great game defensively, I think Coldwater is in trouble.
I agree. I'd say the over-under would be about 12 to 15 tackles, and I think he'll be over that tonight because, in a situation with the weather that you guys are having up there, you're going to see linebackers making plays.
Yeah, talk about the weather. What are we expecting tonight, guys?
You put it on the leg of the tripod.
Oh, us here?
Yeah, for you guys.
Sorry, it's so loud. We've got windows open, music blaring from outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I mean,
Warm, but they're
that is true. We do get the warmth. It's kind of a trade-off a little bit, but I'll go back to your mention of Brady Brungard over at the Tigers table. He's an absolute unit, man. You could hear it in the press box. He was over there snapping while Medvec was warming up, and they were going, wow, that dude, he's a big boy, and there's no doubt about it. We saw the special teams come out first for Springfield. Same thing with Coldwater. Coldwater's line just got out here, and taking a look. Brady Brungard is the biggest guy on the field. There's no doubt about it. And he's also one of the most hardworking players. So like you said, man, he's nice, he's big, he's a do-it-all guy. We saw him make some plays against Fort Fry. Yeah, he weighs about 300 pounds, but he's got that quickness too. It's impressive.
And to add to that, I know DJ had mentioned earlier how this may just come down to who has the ball last, come down to that 38-yard field goal by Clay Medvec. But we were watching him warm up, and he is kicking the crap out of the ball. Yeah. Like he was warming up from about the 20, and he was putting these at the top of the bleachers upon the goalpost. I think that if these Springfield kids, like I've mentioned, if they just stay focused on what the job is at hand, I believe in these guys any day.
I like the one thing that Coach Guerrero said last week when we were listening to him in the locker room. Quinn was standing there with me. He said, play your role. Don't let your eyes roam. Stay within yourself. You will see things wide open for you. That is one of the greatest lines I've ever heard a coach say, and it can't be more truer tonight for that Springfield defense, fellas.
Hack, you're right, man. That is the thing. It's the hardest thing to do, too. The hardest thing to do as a player is to know and do your role because you get caught peeking. There's no doubt about it. I don't care if you're in Pee Wee football or if you're in the league. I mean, you get caught peeking. But if you stay in your lanes and know your role, you're going to win games and you're going to be a great team player.
Absolutely. And I think that'll be the key for them to shut down Coldwater's quarterback. And if they can get him flipped, I'm not sure that their passing game is going to have that ability to be successful against Springfield.
And that's what it's going to come down to tonight. And really for both teams. If whatever team can establish the run, I think is the team that's going to pull ahead and take care of business. Because if you're forcing either one of these teams to have to throw the ball a lot, especially with some bad weather, that's where you're going to see some turnovers, the ball being wet, slips out of the quarterback's hand, how that works. Whoever's going to do, the line is going to be huge tonight. Whoever's line is going to be the nastiest and do their job and prevent and get big holes for their running backs. That's who I think is going to pull away with this. I mean, and looking at the line, looking at these guys who've been doing the job all year, the Tigers are right there. I mean, the Tigers are the team that has been dominating on that line and doing what they needed to do all year long. And then on the flip side of that, their defensive line has been doing their job week in and week out. And when it came to the playoffs, they started getting tested, and it was, and maybe that was, something that they hadn't been pushed that far yet. And then when you get there, now they've been pushed. Now you see how far they can. Now they know, okay, we know how far we can bend and not break. We're good now. Yep. We made the adjustments. Now we can take care of business.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Quinn and I were actually talking earlier. And Quinn actually, we always talk about coach speak. You get the games like this and there's coach speak that comes out. But it's no truer time than the state championship game with the weather the way that you possibly can have up there than what Quinn said. He said, special teams and defense, turnovers. Special teams and turnovers are humongous in a game like this. Whoever makes the least amount of mistakes, Quinn, I mean, you said it. You nailed it right on the head. So, that's key. What else would you put into that position?
I mean, it's one of those things. Being a basketball coach, I have that coach speak kind of thing in my head, and it's basically what you were talking about, Mike. It's that coach speak of do your job. You show up, you execute, you do your job, you take care of the football, you do the little things, you're going to find success.
Absolutely.
And I think if Springfield does that, they're going to win this game. I really do.
Well, that's the big thing. As long as you trust your 10 other teammates on that field, good things will happen. It's when you try to overplay, run through things, and then bad things can happen. I haven't seen that from Springfield at all this year. If I've ever seen a group that just trust each other, it is these Tigers. And I know Jamie and Romo can attest to that.
Yeah, by far. And just to what you were saying earlier, something else that I want to add on real quick is I think that whoever wins this turnover battle is going to have a real good shot to win this game because the conditions aren't great, so we know it's going to be a running battle. Whoever can control the line of scrimmage is really going to have the advantage here tonight. And for Springfield, I think that something that will be big for them to have a good chance to win this game is if they don't cough up the ball at all, because you don't want to give Coldwater any easy possessions where they're already starting deep in your territory. Because I'm sure a lot of these kids, they have some jitters running through right now. And once you get those set to the side and you can just play your game, that'll be big. But if we just have to avoid early turnovers, that'll lead to early points for Coldwater. These kids themselves haven't been in the state championship before, but these coaches have. I know that for sure. This is a very storied program. They know what it takes to win these big games. But I just think Springfield, they have a chip on their shoulder right now. After that big defeat to Anna last year, these kids have something to prove. These seniors are going to come out here in their very last game, and they're going to show what Tiger football is all about.
No doubt. I mean, you guys were talking about winning, the little things. Winning is a byproduct of doing the little things right. And that is something we've seen Springfield do just tremendously through these first 11 games. They seem to do everything right. They are so disciplined. It's one unit. You see a lot of teams that you see key player here, and those who you're really relying on. Yeah, they rely on Bo a little bit, but everybody, like you said, does their job. They are a unit. They are one. That's why we're expecting Springfield to let them know here tonight.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, their approach, everything has worked to the way they've wanted to go this year. Win the turnover margin, you're in good shape. Play your keys, you're in good shape. And I know, Thorny, you're an old lineman like me. Mm-hmm. You win the battle of the trenches. Tonight is the night you have to win it.
Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. Those front five got to get off the ball. And, in Springfield's case, they use front 6 and 7 half the time. So, they come off the ball. I think there's going to be a very good success out there for Springfield. And, before we wrap it up, I know we're getting pretty close, guys. You two guys calling the game tonight, man. 2 of our youngest, but 2 of our best. And we really appreciate what you guys do. Good luck and have a blast with it because they don't come around all the time. As much as we get into a little rut of teams that are getting to the state title game, it doesn't happen every year. So, take it, enjoy it, and put it in your pocket and learn from it, man. You guys are good at what you do, and that's why you're with YSN, and we appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. That's right there.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. We'll go to Jamie and Romo first. Give me your winner, final score, and who's your player of the game.
Go ahead. You take it first.
Obviously, I'm going to have to go with the Springfield Tigers come out on top tonight. I'm going to say 28-21 Springfield. I'm going to say that. The player of the game tonight for me, I think is going to have to be Brady Brungard. He's going to have to control that offensive line, keep them disciplined tonight, keep them level-headed, control that line of scrimmage, and Springfield to get the job done.
Hey, Rick. I take back everything I said about these guys because he took my guy Brady Brungard. So,
my prediction: I'm going to go with Springfield 25, Coldwater 24. Going for 2 at the end of the game. Everyone's expecting Bo Brungard to keep it. Turns and hands it off to Tyndall. Tyndall, your player of the game.
All right, I'll throw it to the Tigers table. You guys, give me the score. Give me your players.
I'll go first. I think it's 28-24 Springfield.
Damn it.
And I'm going to go with the entire Springfield offensive line as my players of the game. They're going to get a good push, and they're going to control it the entire game.
I'm going to switch it up here a little bit. I'm going with a blowout. I'm going with an absolute rout. I'm saying we're going to be 36-7. Springfield's going to win, and Clayton Nesbitt's going to be your player of the game.
Well, I was thinking the whole time, Mike, when you asked this question in my head, I'm like, all right, score. I'm like, hey, you know what? I liked 28-24. And then as soon as he said it, I went, well, he just took my score. damn it. But you know what? I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with 28-24. And I think Tigers are going to get that 28 pretty quick, either right after halftime or right before halftime. And, I think then they battle back to keep that where it's going to be. And then player of the game, I'm just going to say players. I'm going to say it's the defensive line. I say that the front four, front five of the defensive line is going to be the beasts that take care of business and keep this thing where it needs to be.
Nice.
All right. From there, I'm going back to Maslin. I got my man sitting in. He just popped in, replaced those two guys. DJ, you already kind of made your call.
31-28 Springfield, and Clay Medbeck, my dude, he's all about the special teams, and we talked about the third phase of tonight's game, and it's going to be Clay Medbeck just bopping one through the uprights, 38 yards out as time expires, and back in black, the Springfield Tigers are your D6 state champions.
I love it. And guess where you can hear the game? Right on YSN. Yes, Jamie and Romo, they got the call. We'll be back for the post game afterwards. Correct, DJ?
Thank you for your. Yep. We'll do our best.
Absolutely. We'll close it the right way. Here's what I got for you. 34-31 Springfield. Medbeck gets 2 field goals. I'll give you your game winner at the end. I had him all week. He was my guy. I just like the way he plays. I think Bo has a big game. I think Brady has a big game. I think it's going to be Tiger Nation. They're going to be tested. They're going to take some punches. But in the end, they're going to bring home their first state championship tonight. So
Great.
We got all that covered for you.
That's all, fellas.
DJ. Thanks for joining us. Quinn, Thorny, Paul. Got you. It's almost game
thank you
time
for a great year.
Paul Brun. Great year, guys. We'll be back after the game. We'll have the Joe Dickey Electric scoreboard for you. And I know, DJ, if things work out right, we'll have interviews live from the field.
I don't make any promises about finding Leslie because he's gone, just like usual. He just disappeared.
There's pizza available there. I'm telling you, that's where he is. The pizza, that's where Steve is.
I meet him at the Rooster, like in Canfield.
There you go.
All right, guys. It's been a great pregame show. Let's get ready to rock, and let's get to Springfield victory tonight.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. You got it. TIG.